All right, so I'm going to walk you through Pinterest and getting started on the business side. So one of the things you're going to have to remember is that you're going to separate your account. There is the business side of Pinterest. So setting up your Pinterest business account is important. What you'll see here on the screen is it's going to say business.pinterest.com, and it's going to have an adjustment by what country you're in. So don't worry about that. The format should be exactly the same. And like I said before, currently only 7 countries allow you to do the promoted pins, but this doesn't mean you can't set up a business account in all the other countries around the world. So definitely jump on and have some fun on the Pinterest. The first thing you're going to want to look at when you get to this business page is that there's a Get Started section. Take a look at the section and get familiar with it. It talks about what Pinterest is, the audience and how it's been used on this platform, how to set up your account, and even create your content. So if you get stuck anywhere inside this training, you do have an extra Pinterest resource to head into. The other element you're going to look at here is it has the ads. I would get very familiar with understanding how ads work on the Pinterest platform, from formats to targeting, how to measure, increase in awareness, drive considerations, and even grow your sales. All have great information just for you about how Pinterest works for you and your client. It also has some resources in here for best creative practices. Now, what makes Pinterest really interesting as we've been talking about inside this training is that it uses very distinct words. So when you create a pin, it's actually called a creative on this platform. So if you hear this from the help department or you hear this from in the community, a creative is exactly how your pin looks on the Pinterest platform. They do have brand guidelines, especially for promoted pins. We've said it before, and I've said it before. This is about putting your best foot forward. They have information for creators, agencies, even finding marketing partners that work well with Pinterest. And we've got pin collectives and how to contact the sales department if you need more information. If you're curious about the types of success stories or businesses that are having a lot of success on this platform, Pinterest even says, hey, we got a couple testimonials for you to dig into. Overall, enjoy this page, kind of click around and have some fun, but the most important button on this page is this one right here. It says Join as a Business. So as I walked you through in that first training is how to set up your business account, you're going to click this button. Now this one for me is going to go automatically to my business page because I've already set up an account. So follow directions in that first video. What I'm about to walk you through is how to set up the rest of your Pinterest business account so that it looks and feels and has all the information that pinners are looking for. So the one thing you're going to want to know is that you can set up multiple business accounts on Pinterest, and all you have to do is just use a separate email address. So if you have clients that want you to do some off-branding or maybe they have a subsidy of their company, you can absolutely create multiple accounts on the Pinterest platform as long as it's a different email address. So as you can see here, once you've created your Pinterest account, you come in and it's pretty blank. Now it's time to fill it in and really show off what you or your clients are doing in business. The first thing you're going to want to go to is the settings section. Click on that and you're going to notice you have a couple of options here. The first one is the editing of your profile. Go ahead and add your image, the one that best represents your brand, or if it's your personal brand, the best image of you. Your display name is the name that you're using on this Pinterest platform. It's also the name that's going to show up for your business. So you want this to be your name for how you're running your business and how you want to be found on Pinterest. There's also the About profile. Filling this in is critical. It's actually not a lot of information you can share on here. It's about 1 or 2 sentences. So you want to make it concise. Really, what is your purpose here on the Pinterest platform? What can pinners expect from you on being on this platform? And what kind of content are they going to see? So being that concise in a few short sentences, think of it as like a Twitter comment, a short bio of what your company or client does. From there, you're going to want to choose your location. Now, if you're working with a client that's really going after local marketing, you want to have this in here because Pinterest is really working at refining its local marketing, actually targeting cities, pretty much major metropolis cities, so that you can condense and show off your pins, your products, and your services to your local market. Your board features, give your best idea forward on this one. That you can do, and you can edit that, and we'll dive into boards in just a moment. Another element around this is your account setting. So you want to make sure you have your email address in here. You want to make sure you have your country, the language you're using, contact information, your business type. Now this one is a vast array. As you can see here, it is a drop-down menu for this one. So choose your brand. Are you a nonprofit, an institution, local business, media, online marketplace? Everything you see here, choose the one that best represents your client. You also have a couple of login features. Now, I said the best way to do this, if you're really going to look at it, is to have an email address associated with each account. But if you want to, you can connect it to your Facebook account or even your Google account as an option to log into the business side of Pinterest. You can also look at converting a personal account into a business account if you want to. You can hide and deactivate this account, or you can even delete this account permanently if you need to. As I've said earlier, you want to claim your other accounts. And one of the interesting things that you want to do first, of course it's interesting, is to make sure your website is claimed. So claim your website so that Pinterest says, hey, this is who I'm working with. The other thing that just recently shows up is claim your other accounts. And as you can see here, there's 3 that Pinterest wants you to claim your brand for. Instagram is the first one. If you have an Etsy account, you definitely want to verify and claim your Etsy profile, and then YouTube. So having these accounts, really we use these to claim your information, help with the distribution of the content on the Pinterest platform, allowing your brand and the certain features of Pinterest to really boost your awareness for your clients on how these other platforms integrate really well with the Pinterest. So I would definitely recommend you do this for your clients. Notifications. How often do you really want to get notifications from Pinterest, by email, by push notifications? So let's go ahead and click on the edit button. It says here you can control the activities. How much activity do you want to see? Do you want to see activities from other people? Yes or no? If you want to get information by email, you can choose how much of it you want. Everything except for what you turn off. I've chosen just the good stuff because I only want just the best of Pinterest showing up in my email. And then you can turn off emails altogether so you get no notifications. But if you're managing your client's account, you really want to know what's going on and who's engaging with your content. So at least the good stuff gives you an idea of how people are engaging with your content over there. The other thing you want to look at is push notifications. If you're a social media manager like myself, it's really tough to get all these notifications, so you may not want this one. If you're taking on your business account by yourself and you want to know what's going on, this is a great tool to have so you know what's happening on your Pinterest account and you don't have to be there all the time. There's privacy and data. Just go through and look at this one. You can personalize it, change it up as you see fit for your client. Security is another big element of this one. So if there's any devices that are connected, it's going to show you how that looks, who's been on there. And the last one is any apps. Now, if you're using the tools such as Viral Tag or even Tailwind, you'll see that show up on here. And it just says, hey, these are the apps that you gave them permission to have access to your Pinterest accounts. So that's where you'll typically see here when we talk about the apps. So I've got things from Canva, I've got Tailwind, and I've definitely got Viral Tag that show up here as pins or apps that engage with my Pinterest platform. So that's the quick overview of how to get started and at least get the settings set up here. From your personal to your business, just fill in the blanks and really stay concise with what you're putting on here. Make sure your brand is completely transparent, and then we're going to show you how to start setting up your boards and getting the content up onto your business platform. So we just walked through how to set up the business side of your account. We walked through how the settings work. In this section, we're going to show you what your customers are going to see, what your pinners are going to see, and how to really make this about them. As you can see here, we've got our cover board, is what we kind of call it, or we know it as from the Facebook platform. This is something you can edit. Now, it actually will default to your latest pins, or your most recent pins will show up here first. As you create your boards in your category, these options will expand, and now you can start having only images or pins from certain boards that show up here. So you can really craft and refine how your business or how your client's business shows up in the Pinterest platform. The next thing you're going to want to do, if you haven't already inside of the first part of the settings, is you want to make sure your image is changed. This is where you would change your name, is back in the section of the settings. Pinterest gives you a few tips when you're getting started. So tips for creating great pins on this platform. Use a vertical image. Add a description and include a URL. The most annoying thing about Pinterest is if you click on an image or a pin because you want that product and there's no URL attached to it, or it takes you to some crazy site that has nothing to do with the pin. So really, you're doing all of us pinners a favor if you can make sure that the image, description, and the link are all congruent and going to what we want to see. Much appreciated. So from here, let's talk about creating a pin. So creating a pin is fairly simple. You're going to bring over an image or a video. You have the option to start off with this. So let's go ahead and just click an image. I'm going to have a little bit of fun with this and play with my Bitmojis over here. It's definitely a champagne poppin' moment. So we can go ahead and put this image in here. You're going to want to add a title. Now, for the title for your pin, we've been talking a lot about SEO search. So making sure that this is relevant to the pin. I'm absolutely having a little bit of play here for this one, but it's relevant that you stay on topic for this. Actually, I'll even make this a little more congruent. I'll talk about celebrating. So what we want to look for here is say more about that pin. Give a description of what people are going to see when they click on this image and where it's taking them. Because this is really important overall. The description shows up as a little blurb for most desktop. It does not show up on mobile devices, but this also helps Pinterest say, hey, this is the most relevant content to show our pinners. So start off with your keyword phrases, make the sentences short. And the other thing you want to remember around this one is we absolutely want to be using hashtags. At least a minimum of 4 hashtags should be used inside of your description when you're creating your pins. So let's go ahead and show you what that looks like. Okay, so as you can see here in this demonstration, I've talked with you a little about Celebrate Life events. I have an image that correlates for me celebrating on here. Talks about what you need to know about a great champagne, because that's typically what I'm going after. And I'm using keywords such as champagne, celebrate life, party ideas, and this is definitely a New Year's celebration. And then I'm going to give them a link to where this article would be found. Now, I haven't created this piece of content, but if I thought about it, I would definitely create my New Year's content and share it off with you. The next thing you're going to want to look at is there's a board to be created, and it's going to say you want to have it on a board. Well, guess what? We're going to create your board right now. Not only do we get to create your pin, we're creating the board in which it goes on. So we've talked about this a lot in the very beginning, and Pinterest is actually giving you a couple of keyword phrases on what might work right here for you. But you want to make this SEO specific. So when you think about the types of boards you're creating for your client or for your business, look at what's going to be important for you to be found on this platform. You might want to create boards such as your blog. So the name of your blog or the name of your website board, that's really a great way to add some extra SEO for not only your website, but how to be found even on the Pinterest platform. You want to create boards around products and services that your client has or your business has. You want to look about creating an About Me board, which you might think, why would I want an About Me board? Well, you wanted people to get to know the brand. Maybe who's behind the brand, what goes on a day-to-day basis, if you guys have some insiding jokes, things that go on with this company. What is this company about? Giving that little bit of insight might make it a little different than what you're typically seeing on this board. Now you're going to ask me this question, it's like, well, how many boards should I start with on the Pinterest platform? Ideally, you want at least 5 boards up. And the reason for this is that as new pinners or pinners are on this platform, when they get to your site, they're going to see the first 5 boards, and that's what's going to show up. So having these boards created and start filling them with pins is going to be important. Now you don't want to dump all this content onto all these pins onto your boards. That doesn't make sense, especially when we talk about this being a long-term strategy. You want to drip these pins onto the board. So don't think, oh my gosh, I got to get these boards filled before I can even put them out there. That's not the case. Go ahead and create the boards and be intentional about the types of pins you're putting on there, and use your automated services like Viral Tag or Tailwind to help you really start stocking and putting the content onto these boards. So that's what I'm going to kind of leave you with around that one. So creating this board's name, if I think about it, we've talked about doing research on the Pinterest platform. So I might would have wanted to do a little bit more research on the types of pins. But the great thing is all these boards can be edited. So if you find that you need a better name for this board or you want to increase its ranking, you can come back at any time and edit the board name. They're not permanent, which actually gives you a lot of flexibility to play with your boards, create the content, move content, and really make this the best use of for your client or even for your business. So I'm just going to create this one as Celebration. I'm going to call this one the Champagne board. Now you have the option to keep it secret. You can if you want. I've had a lot of clients say, hey, I want to keep the board a secret until I fill it with pins before I get it out there. Honestly, I would say that's not the best use of, especially if you're going to be talking about SEO and getting found on here. Don't stack your boards before you release them. That really doesn't offer any value to you, the Pinterest algorithm, the feed. So really let the board grow. Let people know you're on it for the first time and you're developing your brand. It actually entices more of us pinners to want to follow you as we see you keep developing and creating content for us. So I'm not creating any collaboration. So I'm not creating any collaboration around this board. We've got the pin created. It shows us again. It says this is the board it'll be on. Now you have two options. You have the publish immediately, and Pinterest says, hey, if you want to publish at a later date, you do have that option. So if you click on that one, it'll just give you a date or a calendar. So you choose the calendar and the time that you want this pin to go up. So if you don't want to use automation tools, you want to do everything manually, you have that option right here. Or maybe you're on the go and you captured a great image for your client and you want to put it up there, but you know that it needs a little bit of time or you want to move it. This allows you an opportunity to schedule that out and make any changes to the description, the headline, so that you put your best content forward for not only your business, but for your clients. So now that you've created the pin and chosen the board, you're going to click Save. And what you'll see next is, hey, congratulations, you've created your first pin. Hey, if you want to promote it, here's your opportunity. At this time, I'm not going to promote it, but what I want to do is I want to see the pin. So now I can see the pin on the Pinterest platform. I can see what it looks like, how it shows up. I'm just going to click back on the back button. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the home button on here to refresh. And when I did that, how did you describe yourself? So now you have an option to choose. Are you female, male, or non-binary? If you choose non-binary, if you're a company, it's probably the best choice for you. I'm going to go ahead, just because of this brand, I'm going to do non-binary because I might change this account later. And I'm going to go ahead and that would be enter. Exit out. This actually helps the Pinterest platform find out what type of information they want to put in front of you. So don't be afraid to answer questions to help refine the search and be found inside the search engines here. So if I click on View Profile, now you can see that the most important pin I have on here is that emoji of me popping a champagne bottle. The first board is up. Now you're starting to see what Pinterest is doing for you. They're going to create the promoted pin section. So by how popular your pins are, it's actually going to recommend the pins that you should be promoting. And this does change daily. And it pulls from how content's being shared from Pinterest to your website, how your website's being pinned onto the Pinterest platform. So all of that plays into, hey, I recommend that you start promoting these pins on the Pinterest platform. You have your choice to do that or not. And as I've shown you in the promoted pins training, you can actually use this kind of like as a boost. I would say wait and get the organic traffic around a pin, see if it's performing well before you start boosting or promoting your pins through this method on this platform. So we've got the latest pin, the latest board, it's all been created. The next thing you want to look at is that you've got your board tab. You have, so when you scroll down here, it showcases all your boards. And as you create more boards, they'll continue to show up. This is why we talked about a minimum of 5 boards, so that your first 4 show up right here and it gives people some content to look at. Now the other question you might have for me is, well, how many is too many boards? Honestly, I've seen the sweet spot somewhere between 20 and 30 boards. You don't have to have that many, but that's typically what I've seen. I've seen companies have more boards than that, and I've seen companies have less boards than that, and both do extraordinarily well on this platform. Because remember, it's about the content that's on the platform, not how many boards you have on this platform. So now that we've dived into that, you can click right here, continue creating your boards. For your pins, you can see what pins are working. If you want to add or create other pins, all you have to do is click on it here, and it goes through the exact same process I just showed you about how to add pins onto this platform. Now, if you're using the tools like Viral Tag or Tailwind, this is all going to be done ahead of time, and it's going to move all this content and all these descriptions over for you. So you're going to do all of this on those automation platforms, which makes it real easy so you don't have to come back and fix pins at any time. The other thing that's really interesting are the tried pins. So what have you tried? One of the great things about being a pinner on this platform is that I can tell you what pins I've tried, and it would show up here in the content. So if I'm trying a new pin for clothing, or I've tried a new vacation, or I've gone on a cruise, or I've tried something for decorations around my house, anything like that, I can actually tell Pinterest, hey, I've tried these pins, and it shows up here for me so that Pinterest knows what I'm doing. It also lets me know who my followers are and who's following me. And again, we talked about it in the training. The followers is a kind of a big deal. You want to be very specific on who you're following so that as you see what's showing up in their news feed, it's more relevant and you're able to curate and share that content because it's actually built around clients and customers and the types of pinners you want to engage with from your business perspective. So right now, as you can see, I've got no followers and no following, which is typical for a new account. My recommendation for this is go out there and start searching your competition, start searching other businesses. So if you're in the world of camping, or if you're in the world of training, summer outfits, engagement rings, it's Valentine's, you can see that they're really showing me some of the trends that are coming up right now. Air fryer recipes. Now, me being a former chef, or a chef still, this would be a fun one to play with. So I can go in here and I can now start repinning and creating boards and seeing what's out there. So that's kind of the quick overview of how to set this all up. So if you have any questions, definitely ask inside our community. We're here to help and support you, and I am personally in there helping you answer any questions you have around the Pinterest platform. I also want to point out in here there's the home section. So what the home section is it's the ideas that Pinterest is presenting to you based on how you're engaging with the content on the platform. So if you're searching for things or looking to find things for your clients or your business, Pinterest that's what's going to show you in the home feed. The following feed is going to show you the pins built on the people you're following. So as you can see here, when I clicked on the following board, it opened up a whole bunch of information. It said, hey, build your following, from trends to foods, from do-it-yourself, women's style, and more. Click on the ones that, again, best represent what your client is interested in and who their perfect customer is. It's really important that you have an idea of who your perfect client is so that you can use this particular following piece as a way to get found on the Pinterest platform. So we're talking about building your following feed on your Pinterest business account. What you want to do is go in here and actually find the categories or interests that best relate to your client or to your business. So for this particular platform, let's go with holiday parties, and it'll pull up all the people that I might want to engage with, follow, and then it's my choice to follow them. And I start building my following of what I want to see on the Pinterest platform, really crafting it to make it my own. So I'm not forced to follow just the Pinterest algorithm. I can choose, if I would like to follow to see what my followers and who I'm following is creating and really use their content. So now Pinterest has built my feed and I can continue to add to this. I can delete people, I can go find people. So this is one way to use this platform to really engage. A couple of other things that you want to be aware of is that this little red button with the plus allows you to create your pins or your ads. So if you want to be on the desktop using this, this is a great way to get started. The other thing you want to be aware of is that this is a somewhat social platform. So you can create messages between pinners on this platform. I've done everything from group messages on this platform and single messages. This is a great way to share pins And you can share content, you can have conversations, and if your client needs some work from you and they want to engage with you on the Pinterest platform, you can actually have a conversation right with your client about what's going on with their Pinterest account. The little bell is about your notifications, and this is where you can turn on and off those notifications and find out what's going on the Pinterest platform. And then 3 little dots are your setting. So this completes the overview of the function side of setting up your Pinterest business account. I hope you got a lot of value from this particular training, and we went through it fairly quickly, but as we talked about inside of the slides, it breaks down step by step how to create the content to best serve your Pinterest platform. So now let's look at promoted pins. We've gone through the whole process of what it looks like in the 4 categories that you can use to create the promoted pins. I want to walk you through how to maneuver your way through this platform. As you can see here, you have the ability to create your ads and analytics. Now this is only available if you have a Pinterest business account. You will not see these 2 options if you have a personal profile on the Pinterest platform. So when we look at this, we're going to go ahead and click on ads. If we click on the overview, which would, if you're running your ads, give you an overview of what's going on your Pinterest platform, you can see here the first thing it asks you, it says, "Welcome to Pinterest Ads Manager. Please choose your location so they can determine the currency needed." If you click the drop down, these are all the countries that right now have the availability to run promoted pins. Austria has been added to this one recently. Germany's looks like it's been added. Israel, and even Sweden has been added. So as you can see, as we're even doing this training, Pinterest has been updating this platform around promoted pins. So this is why you want to be constantly jumping in here and having a look around what's going on. And Pinterest isn't changing that much, but there are little tweaks that are coming to this platform, just so that you're aware that some of the things you see here might still be changing as you see these videos also. So we're going to go ahead and go with the US dollar. Now go ahead and accept the advertising agreement. Congratulations, you've accessed the promoted pin section of the Pinterest platform. Quick overview of how this looks. You've got your 4 campaigns that you can choose. You've got your campaign on awareness. So if your client wants to really acknowledge their brand or get their brand built on this platform, this is a great way to get their brand out there. Let people know what you're about, what your client's about. This is the type of pin that you would use here. Traffic campaigns is really what drives traffic to your website. This really truly is one of the most utilized traffic tools here on the platform. You have the promoted app, so drives installation for your app that you have, and the video awareness campaign, which drives impressions for your videos for your clients. These are your 4 choices around this platform, and really they've been refined because Pinterest says, hey, this is really what marketers and even those that are on the platform are really looking for. This is what's going to best serve you from a business perspective on how to use the Pinterest platform. You'll also notice that they give you some of their best tips on how to make effective ads and how to use the ad manager. Both are great resources when getting started. Now, because this particular account doesn't have any promoted pins running, I'm going to take you over to my account and show you how this is working. So to let you know that you can actually edit pins, how to utilize the platform a little bit better from an intuitive perspective. So let me walk you through how to craft and create your promoted pin. So here is the analytic element of your Pinterest platform. So you have the ability to have an overview, kind of see what's going on with your audience, how they're engaging. You'll see how your profile is performing, the type of reach, and do you want to see more? Again, Pinterest is going to ask you, please confirm and verify your website. You're also going to see your profile in here, so if you want to know what's on your profile, this is another great place to reach it. People you reach, Pinterest is going to tell you, hey, here's your monthly viewers, here's your monthly average engagement that's going on, what type of apps are they using, audiences, and really what this is about is just kind of finding out what's going on. What Pinterest is doing is they're doing an update to this, and there's an audience insight. So the audience insight, it brings all of this together, letting you know what's going on from your client's perspective against what's going on against all Pinterest users. And now you can compare the 2. So if you want to see what all Pinterest users are really doing, how they're utilizing the site, you can come over here and it'll show you everything from the category and then the interest inside of this category, making it a great reference tool for what type of keywords or maybe even what interest to go after for the product or service you're promoting for your client on the Pinterest platform. So the other thing you can do with this one is you can do a compare. So if you want to know how your website or how your content is doing against what's typically or what's trending on the Pinterest platform, here's a great place for you to take a look at that. And it does a side-by-side comparison, making it really easy for you to see what's going on with your client's account or your business, and then what's going on with the Pinterest platform. So that's the analytics side of this. It's a fairly short, but has a lot of information. It'll tell you the age, the genders, the demographics, and you can kind of see what's going on. According to this, as we've talked about just being a straight Pinterest platform, you can see that the greater audience is female, though you do see the males that are coming onto the platform. It does do an age breakdown. So if you want to know the type of age group that you're marketing to, it talks about the devices they're using. So if they want to know if they're using iPhones, iPads, Androids, tablet, website. What I still find interesting enough is that we're still using the web. So desktop still is doing very well on here, and the phone and the Android mobile and iPhone are really the top contenders. But website desktop still does very well on this platform. So something to think about as you're doing your marketing. You may not want to stay only mobile. You might want to consider also staying within the desktop realm. So that's going to complete this training around the analytics. Now we're going to go ahead and dive into the promoted pins. I'm going to show you exactly how to analyze and use all that information in the promoted pin section. So now I'm going to show you how to create a promoted pin on the Pinterest platform. I'm going to walk you through step by step. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over to where it says ads. Now you have the option of clicking here and you say create the ad, or again with this little red with a cross between it also allows you to create your ads. I'm going to create the ad button right here. Now it's going to ask me which pin do I want to select to use, and this is where you want to make sure that you know what your client's promoted pin, what they're going to be using for this. So I'm going to kind of scroll down and find the best pin for what I want to do. Let's go ahead and use this one. This is going to be a great one to try. It's how to craft the perfect pin description for your pin. So it's got the destination URL in here. We can create the ad budget, run the promoted pin, and this is going to allow us to go through. It's going to pre-populate the keywords for us. We can continue to add. With this particular platform, when these keywords that I'm using, it'll say I'll pay up to about 39 cents per click. So it's still relatively inexpensive to run ads over here on the Pinterest platform. You can adjust the daily budget. You can start anywhere from $10 to $30 to whatever the budget is for the client that you're working with. So you want to make sure you keep this in mind. Now, as I've said previously, one of the things you want to remember is that the ability for the pin to ramp up and to be really effective on this platform takes anywhere from 22 to 24 days. Inside of that time frame, if they're spending less than $100 a day in ads total, it's going to take a little bit longer for that pin to really hit its plateau, to really find out if it's doing well on the Pinterest platform. This is why we talk about it's a long-term strategy, not a short-term. Now, if your client is spending over $100 a day and they're spending a couple thousand, that time window shortens considerably, and it can go down to 3 days depending on their ad budget. So you really want to be in communication with your client about what their budget is and how much they're willing to spend on a daily basis on the Pinterest platform. I will tell you this, if you're spending at least a minimum of $100 a day on the Pinterest platform, you're probably going to get a call or an email from your Pinterest ad account manager who is going to be assigned to you to help you really refine and craft your pins. They're going to call you up and schedule time with you to find out what's your KPIs, what are you looking to do on this platform, what are your end results and goals. You're just going to want to communicate what your client's been telling you so that you can represent your client in the best way possible, especially as you talk to these Pinterest managers. What they're going to show you is like how to best use this platform. They're going to have you even have a conversion member on the team so they can talk about metrics with you and really help you analyze and refine what's going on the Pinterest platform. So this is a really unique opportunity, is that if your client is running a big budget on the Pinterest platform, you do have the added guidance of a Pinterest ads manager to help make sure that you're meeting all the goals that your client wants to achieve with Pinterest. So setting your budget, really it's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and do a $10 a day budget on this one. I'm going to go run it for, I would say continuously, but you can run it for 30 days. Pinterest will notify you that your time frame is, about to expire. So why they say 30 days is that it gives you that time frame to look at and evaluate the pin. But you really do want that pin to run for a minimum of 22 days before you make any adjustments, whether it be keyword, audiences, anything. Let the pin run. I'm just going to repeat that throughout this whole entire walkthrough process. Let the pin do its thing on the Pinterest platform and trust Pinterest to deliver it to the audience that it's intended for. So this is where we're looking at, this is more like a boosted pin on this one. So if I click promote, this is going to start running. So it's done, it's been created, I can visit my ads manager. Now if I go into overview, when I go into the overview section, this is really where I can craft and get into a little more detail around my Pinterest and the ads I want to run. So when I click view all on this one, I have the ability to look at what's going on. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and click on the created campaign. I'm going to dive into the rest of this in a little bit, and I want to walk you through setting up that traffic pin and driving traffic. So this is setting up your campaign. The red button and the way that I just showed you really is about boosting a pin that you already have on your platform. This one's saying, hey, let's get a little more targeted about how we're using this platform. So for this particular one, we're choosing the traffic option. We have the ability to name this one. So if I know exactly what I'm doing for my client, maybe I'm running a new product, or we got a new event coming up, or we have something that's going to impact and they can use the Pinterest platform. Name your campaign so that you know what this campaign is doing. I'm going to just write this as my test. This is my test for Pinterest Pro. So we have the ability to create the daily limit or a lifetime spend. So if you want to do daily limit, so if I want to do $30 a day, I can set this here and forget it. I can make this a carousel ad, which I don't recommend at this time, but if you have a client that wants multiple images around the same product, this actually might be a great way for you to have all 3 images represented in just one ad. So it's something worth testing for sure. Then you're going to go ahead and just click continue. Inside this section, you're going to actually name your ad group. So for this one, this is a test. I'm going to do Pinterest description. And I might come up and start adjusting this, and I'll show you what I'm doing. We did talk about audiences. Again, I'm going to cover that in the next training around this one. I'll walk you through how to set up your custom audiences. I do have ones that have defaulted here already. I might choose one that have visited my site, engaged with my site, and what's really great about this is I can say, hey, I want to target those that are engaging with my site and are engaging with my pins and have visited my site. So now I can say that's what I'm looking for around that. And I might at that time go up inside of this description, do Pinterest, site, engage. So I start understanding what I'm crafting here around this particular ad. Targeting is, I'm going to choose all genders, ages. I'm going to go with all ages. I don't have any reservations around that one. You can get more specific if you want. If you click on that, it's giving you the groups. So you have 18 to 24, 24 to 25 to 34. So you can pick your age ranges if you like. I might take out 18 to 24, 65 plus, since I know the average medium of Pinterest is right around 40, though we do see a lot of activity in the younger groups, not quite so much in the older. And the potential size keeps getting adjusted as I go. I can choose US locations. If I open this up, you can see we've got other countries in which I can target. So if your client or your business have other countries that they're able to do business in, this is a great way to single them out and then target just those countries or multiple countries. So for this one, I'm just going to stick with the US and all the cities involved in that area. The one thing I do want to show you about locations is that now you also can target by US zip codes. This is something that Pinterest is starting to really dive into, and you can do bulk email groups. So for example, you can cover an entire state by zip code. You can go through certain areas. You can target just large cities. This is a great way to really hone in on the local marketing with using Pinterest. So I'm going to, well, we can select all. The next thing you're going to see is that you have the ability to choose the language if you so desire, and you can also choose the device. I'm really going after all devices, as I've shown you in the analytics and the audience insight. Both mobile and desktop do really well with Pinterest platform, and I wanted to look at which one's going to perform better. So I'm going to run the ad and then come back to it in about 22 to 24 days and then start crafting and making the adjustments that I need to the pin to improve its visibility on the Pinterest platform. We've talked about using interests. So if there's a specific interest or how your client falls into a category, maybe they're in the beauty category, maybe they're into the children's fashion, they're in the design, maybe do it themselves, architect, animals. If their product falls within one of these interests, I would absolutely test one of these interests as a way to market. I might even split test your ad on here just to give you some idea of how keywords perform against how your interests perform on this platform. There's everything from electronics, entertainment, event planning, and when you open these up, say under finances, it talks about banking, finances, insurance, loans, real estate, and even under these, they have subcategories such as buying or even selling real estate, allowing you to really hone in on the interest and the type of avatar and audience you want your pin to show up in front of. So keyword research is really critical. We've talked about that. We have that whole training inside of the pro strategies around this and how to find the right keywords in building your audience. So that is where you're going to take it over here. You're going to take those keywords and you're going to apply them. Now for the best results, Pinterest does say, hey, use a minimum of 25 keywords. Now you can put the keywords that you've done for your research in here. So I could say Pinterest, because I know I'm going to go after that one. What's great about this is that instead of having to do all the research on my own, Pinterest says, hey, we'll give you some of the similar results that we see that also people are looking for. So I can add Pinterest.com, I can add Pinterest strategies, Pinterest marketing, the perfect Pinterest, pin ideas, pin tips, and again, this list goes on. And what this allows me to do is really customize the type of keywords without having to do all the work myself. Now, one of the questions you might be asking is there a best keyword to use based on the information they're giving you? Because if you look at here under this particular one that says online marketing, you'll find that they have a wide audience, anything from 500,000 to 1 million, 1 to 2 million. Is there a better one to be utilizing? Well, I will let you know this, that the more action they see around a pin, typically the higher your bid is going to be when you start bidding on this. So you want to look at really what's going to serve your client. Do you want to stay in a little bit more of a lower marketing range? Do you want to go after the bigger keywords? Do they have the budget for that? These are all questions you're going to be wanting to ask your client and really look at as you craft the keywords that are going to best serve how this pin is found on the Pinterest platform. So once you've chosen your 25 keywords, you're going to go ahead and just continue moving down. It's going to tell you the potential size of your audience. You don't want to be too broad and you definitely don't want to be too narrow. So finding that middle ground is the perfect place to be when you're crafting your pin. You're going to want to schedule your budget and your schedule. So what time do you want this to go live? Is there an ending date? Now you can choose a 30-day, you can let it go indefinitely. I typically leave this open because I'm in here all the time checking and looking at this as I have multiple pins running. You can set your daily budget. I can choose here to do my lifetime budget or daily budget. So I might say $30 a day is what I'm looking for here. I can optimize the delivery now. So Pinterest is going to tell you what type of bid is going to do really well with this platform, and especially around what you've set up for your audience and how you're going to be targeting the pin you're using. So this one says the max bid I should be using is about $1.71. It's a strong bid. So a bid like this or higher will be competitive in the auction. So this is an auction platform. And you're only paying for the clicks to your website because this is really about conversion or moving people from the Pinterest platform to your website. For pacing, I do recommend standard, and you can choose accelerated pacing, which just makes sure that your pins accelerate, they're delivered faster, they're going to blow through your budget faster. So you can either do the recommended, or if your client says, hey, I really want to know how well this platform is going to perform for me, you can choose the accelerated method. But overall, because again, I tie back into this is a search platform, going with the standard and letting that pin build on the platform actually helps you out a lot with this. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the bid where it's at. I'm going to click continue. So here's where I get to choose my pin, or I can add the pin that my client wants me to use in here. So if it's not already up on your Pinterest platform, now's your opportunity to choose your pin. I can go to the board. So if I'm looking for a specific pin that's on a board, which I'm actually going to do, I'm going to use my Pinterest marketing resource. Now this is a landing page type of ad that I'm going to be running. It's very specific to what I'm up to. I'm going to go ahead and click on review the ad. So it's got the ad name. So this is where I can make any of the adjustments. So anything that I put in here and I said, ooh, now I want to adjust the name of the ad. So we know what I targeted. So I know this is a traffic ad. I know it's about Pinterest marketing is what I'm doing here. I could talk about the audience that I use. I said it was US only. I can say the age range was between 25 to 65. So if I'm refining this during that process, I want to give myself as much information here so that I'm not trying to figure out what I did for keywords, what I did for marketing, and I can just take a look at it and go from there. So I've done 25 through 65, and then I can say that this was keyword. So I can do keyword, I can do custom audience, however you want to word this so that it makes sense for you and it's easy to find and understand what type of ad is running and gives you kind of it as a quick overlook. Now I'm just going to click launch. Your campaign is launched, so check back for reporting in the next 24 hours. Pinterest does require that you give it at least 24 hours to get up there. The ad approval time frame varies. I've seen my pins get approved in just a few minutes, and I've seen my pins take a couple of hours to maybe even a day to get approved on this platform. So just have patience as it does get manually reviewed to make sure it meets all the criteria to be effective on the Pinterest platform. Now, if it does get denied, I will tell you this, you'll get an email from Pinterest. Read the email. It gives you the exact information you need to know about why it was denied. Then you have the ability to go back into your account and make any edits you need to. You might have to change the image. You might have to change your targeting. Pinterest will tell you, follow the advice they're giving you. They're not going to shut down your account for having a bad pin. Really what they're here to help you accomplish is putting out your best pins and putting your best foot forward through this whole process. So now that we've created the pin, I've walked you through that whole process of creating the promoted pin. I'm going to show you how to refine ads inside of this in the next training.